Recent reports show more local homeowners are underwater on their mortgages. They owe more than the property is worth. So, what should you do if you're one of them? Joining me to talk about this is foreclosure attorney Antoinette Davis, who also answers consumer legal questions on Seattle-based Avvo.com. It's a legal Q&A website. Thank you so much for being here, Antoinette.
Thanks for having me.
A very timely issue. So right off the bat, if you are underwater, what are your options?
Well, it depends. It depends on your goals. If you want to maintain the residence or if you want to get from under it. Depends if you can afford it or if you can't afford it. There's many options out there, which would include perhaps modifying your mortgage loan, whether it's through the Making Homes Affordable programs or whether it's through an in-house program with the bank.
Okay.
There's also just simply allowing the bank to foreclose on it. And that's whether you can afford it or not afford it. There's also a deed in lieu of foreclosure, which would mean that you would deed the property back to the bank in lieu of a foreclosure. And then there's also short sales.
So it sounds like even though one might feel like they're stuck, you really are faced with lots of different options. You have to sit down and figure out what they are, what you want to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's one of the reasons why going to a resource like the Avvo legal guides or seeing an attorney is a perfect solution, because there's going to be different solutions for different people.
For potential buyers out there, we have heard over and over again, short sales, you get such a great deal. That's not necessarily true, and the term itself, it's not exactly a short process, is it?
Well, it's not a short process, but with 60% of the loans being held by Fannie and Freddie, they are attempting and actually put some new guidelines in place as effective November 1st, which are intended to make the process a little bit more predictable for homeowners.
Can you talk about that new process and the changes that happen?
Absolutely. Of course, there's numerous, so I'll just highlight a few for you.
Sure.
One of which is there's now deadlines for the lenders as well as the homeowners. That makes the process a lot more streamlined and predictable for all parties, including the buyers. It used to be that they would submit an application to the lender and it would be stuck in a black box and nobody would know what was going on at what time, and you were just kind of held at bay for a little while. But now there's the deadlines, which again makes it more predictable. One of the other details is that you no longer have to be in default. It used to be that you would have to be in default as a homeowner before they would even consider you for a short sale. Now they have a few carve-outs, which is if you're suffering from some illness or disability, if you're legally separated or divorced, if one of the borrowers or the co-borrowers passes away, for example.
So do your homework, because the rules that you thought were in place may not be anymore and things might be different now.
Correct.
Who might benefit from a short sale the most?
Well, I think that there's a number of folks that may benefit from a short sale. The seller, for example, especially if they're looking to get from under the property in and of itself. The buyer, because they're going to be purchasing property that is probably more at market price.
Got it.
And then there's the bank. They don't have to go through the process and the cost of foreclosing on a property and then taking it to auction to get rid of it. And then, of course, the community, because there's no worries about the properties around it being abandoned or unkept.
And you provide a lot of legal advice for people if they are in this kind of predicament. You recommend don't do it yourself. Ask questions.
Absolutely. And it really depends upon their circumstance and what their goal is. Everybody has different goals. Some people just simply aren't able to afford the property and need to know what are my remedies. Other people can afford it and otherwise can't afford to stay in the property even though it's underwater, but they may want to look for a more affordable payment.
Antoinette, thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely.
We do appreciate that. For more information about Avvo, go to our website, comonews.com, and click on Como 4 TV.